Yesterday, the court struck down Vermont's campaign finance law, affirmed Kansas's death penalty, and agreed to rule on a case involving the regulation of carbon dioxide emissions. Here to discuss what the decisions mean to you is attorney Gina Ghioldi. Thank you so much for joining us, Gina.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this Vermont campaign finance law. This is a victory for Republicans who challenged it, isn't it?
It is, and you know, it's obviously very important for the viewers who live in Vermont, but it's really important for everybody here in New England and across the country, because what this means is that the High Court is saying, listen, if you want to impose restrictions as to how much money can be contributed to a campaign or how much can be spent by a candidate, it has to be reasonable. That's what happened here. Actually, the court decided that the caps that Vermont had put on the spending and the contributions were too low. So it violated candidates and the actual voters' rights to the First Amendment freedom of speech, because in fact the state was dictating how much you could talk about a particular campaign topic.
So you think this will have a snowball effect as other states then challenge the same?
I think that it will. This was really, you know, brought on by a lot of different people, including many of the U.S. senators and retired judges and justices. So this was a big effort. So this is quite a shoot down, and the court, I think, is really taking a stand. And remember, it does affect all of us, because the precedents that's set by the U.S. Supreme Court affects every one of us in every single state.
Let's talk about the death penalty, always a controversial topic.
Sure.
The Supreme Court decided yesterday, and I'm going to quote this, juries should impose death sentences if aggravating evidence of a crime's brutality and mitigating factors explaining a defendant's actions are equal in weight. So this is a mandate.
Yeah, what does it mean? What it means is that out in Kansas, what happened was there was a case, it was a brutal case, a man who actually waited in a woman's home for her to come home, and he admitted that he actually shot her, stabbed her daughter, set them on fire, horrible circumstances. He was found guilty of the death penalty, but appeals came in and they said, hey, no, wait a minute, because the prosecution and the defense had given equal weighing evidence, then in fact shouldn't be the death penalty. That's a violation of the Eighth Amendment. And the court came back and said, no, the death penalty can stand. The states get to decide how to take a look at the evidence in a particular case.
Now, Justice Samuel Alito broke the deadlock in this particular case. It was a case that originated when Sandra Day O'Connor was on the court.
Right.
Do you think it would have resulted in the same way had she still been on the court?
Well, probably not, but the reality is it did, and this really sets the stage for everyone here to take a look at it. We know that Mitt Romney is trying to bring the death penalty back to Massachusetts. How will this affect it? We'll have to wait and see, but it affects every one of us.
Now the Supreme Court has decided to take up the carbon dioxide emissions case, and this has got a local connection.
That's right, that's right. Actually, Tom Riley is the one who's leading this case, along with a number of other AG offices from right here in New England. And what this is trying to get the EPA to make a decision on the emissions of carbon dioxide. Now, those are your cars and your trucks. So what does this mean? The EPA came back and they said, and they made a legal statement saying, you know what? It's out of our purview. It has nothing to do with the Clean Air Act. It has nothing to do with us. And this kind of reversed a legal opinion from back in the Clinton administration. So here we have it. And actually, Bush's administration didn't want the Supreme Court to take a look at this case, but they've agreed to do so. So this is going to be huge. And before you go out and buy that hybrid card, wait and take a look and see what the Supreme Court is going to say, because it can affect car manufacturers, utility companies. We'll see how it plays out.
Given the makeup of the court, any predictions?
You know, I'm kind of feeling that they're going to put some restrictions on there. There's many people who are buying into that and really want to see it happen. But we'll see.
Gina Ghioldi, thank you for sharing your expertise
Thanks
and
for
perspective.
having me.
Now.